The button challenge. The button challenge is cool in my mind because it's kind of like a layered onion. There are a lot of different ways to do it and a lot of different ways to improve on it, which gives you a lot of opportunities to ask those interesting questions during an interview. So let's work through it really fast. The challenge is to style the button to match the image. We have this image here, different states. There should be hover and active states. SAS and SCSS are available if you want to use them. As a bonus, the button should scale, preferably with font size only, and it should allow for any color to be used. So a few options here, right? We could just do CSS, or we could do some sort of a mix-in depending on what you're looking for. But for this, I'm going to try and stay mostly to CSS, and you'll see why in a bit here. We have the image, the button, there's a span inside of the button, and just a paragraph of text to show some difference, okay? Opening this up, we can get right in here. There are some styles just for the image and the body, and some helper text. We're going to use Rebecca Purple to get this purple in here. And the font size of the button is the same as the body, which is 3M. So we can do that. I'm not really concerned with how they target the button. So I'm just going to use a button selector here. If you wanted to, you could attach a class. It works. But for this example, I'm more concerned with what's inside of this selector, not necessarily the selector itself. We can add that color. It is Rebecca Purple. Just like this. I'm going to copy and paste that so save myself some time later. The font size. Font size is the same as the body, right? So we can actually go 1M here, which is kind of magical because it is inheriting from the body. So you can ask them, how did that happen? A little bit of responsiveness there. We have, it is bold, font weight bold, just like this. Making it big and chunky. We are going to add some padding here. Say 10 pixels and 50 pixels. Top, bottom, left, right. Now we can start to add our border, okay? Our border happens just as you would expect. It's a border, not 1 pixel. In fact, it is, let's go with 10 pixels here. Again, it's Rebecca Purple, so we can paste that, not copy it, but Rebecca Purple, just like this. Copy that again because I messed up my clipboard. You'll notice that the button went gray. This is something that happens in pretty much every browser, where when you remove one of the defaults, it clobbers a lot of the defaults. So a little bit of surprise for someone that might not be expecting it. We can fix that really quick just by adding a background color of transparent, which should knock that out unless I spelled it wrong. Transparent. Yes, I did. There it is. We can add the border radius. Border radius can be anything that is huge. This is a magic thing. If you set this, it will set this radius here to be that. It doesn't set the whole thing. It only sets the quarter, which is why if you do 50%, it kind of gives you this oval because it's going 50% of the width and 50% of the height to create this oval. So you need something that is a fixed width. For now, we'll just go with a really big number. We'll change it in a second. At this point, we have this button. We need this bottom edge to be thicker, right? It needs to be more chunky. A couple ways to do this. We could go bottom width. We could increase that to, say, 20 pixels. It works, but it doesn't. And if you really zoom in on this, you'll notice that it's kind of funky, right? It doesn't quite work right. It's hard to describe, really. Um, you might actually see it if we go bigger. Oh, not that big. Whoa, this big. Okay. It's making the inside kind of square away with the outside, which is why you get this weird look. Not so great. We can do better by using something like a box shadow. So, whoops, box shadow, just like this. Not inside, not inset, but 0. We're going to add sure, let's stay with 10 pixels for now. It's going to be 0. We don't want it to blur. We want it to be nice and solid, so 0 for the blur, and that Rebecca purple. There we go. At this point, we have our button, and it works pretty good. The only thing that I would say with this is that it's not responsive. If we go in and change this font size to, say, 0.5, make it smaller, only the font changes. Nothing else does, which kind of makes it look awkward. So we can do better by making all of these responsive as well. This can be 2M. This can be 1 whole M, 1M. 0.2M, just like this, 0.2M. And just for good measure, let's make this 1M. And now if we go and change this to anything, 0.5, or make it really big by going 2, it just works. It doesn't work here because that's kind of buggered, but there you go, okay? So going backwards, we have our button. Now we need the hover state. Hover state is just what you would expect, using a little bit of sass here to get it done. So we change the background color. Background color is not quite Rebecca purple. It's kind of off purple. We can use a little bit of sass to get that done as well. So it's RGBA, and we feed it that Rebecca purple and tell it to be 0.8, which means that when we hover it, we get that. Changing the color, like this, white, gives us our hover state, just like this. There it is. Active state, very similar thing. So at active, like this. And our active state, we pretty much just get rid of the box shadow, don't we? So let's spell active right first. Box shadow to 0. And I think that should do it. Let's see. Oh, not quite. We need all the zeros, sorry. There we go. So now when we click, it's going the wrong way. We can fix that with a transform to translate it down while it's doing it, right? Translate y of 0.2m. And now it should just look like it's going into the page. So there it is. We have the button, we have the hover state, we have the click state, and we have all of this code. If they get this far, it's good, right? It's not terrible, but we can do better. So one of the things that we can do is we can get rid of all of the duplicates. We have a lot here. We could move them out to something like a class. So we could go dollar, what are we going to call it? Button color, just like this. Set it to Rebecca purple, whoops. And now everywhere that we have Rebecca purple, we can just go and paste this in. So right here, right here, right here, and down here. And it all still works. So a little bit more fast stuff. Still a lot of repeating code though. We have button color in 4 different places. Wouldn't it be great if we could get rid of that? Well, the cool thing is that we can. So the first question here is, what is the default color for border? And a lot of people might think, oh, it's black. It's black. Actually, it's whatever the text color is. So whatever your text color is, that's what your border color is. We can prove this just by getting rid of this really fast. And you see that nothing changes. It changes on the hover. We'll get to that in a second. But nothing changes because our border, as well as box shadow and things like outline and text decoration and even text shadow are all inherited from the text color. So that should do it. And of course it breaks our stuff. This is why we have that magical span in here, so that we can actually cheat a little bit. We can grab this, cut it out, go, you know what? Take that span and make it white. And now we're back to normal, okay? Still a little bit of duplicate color with the background color. So we can do a little bit better there by changing this. The way that we do that is by using background color directly, like this, and by doing a little bit of trickiness with our background image. So right now, if we hover over this, you see the color goes solid. But if we add a background image of not URL, but linear gradient, we can actually set it to be a solid color that sits over top of that background color. In this case, we want white, so we're going to go RGBA of 255, 255, 255, 0.2. Okay, just like this. We're going to copy it because we want the exact same thing. It's a gradient from color A to color A, which makes it just a solid fill. And now we're back to normal. Okay. At this point, if a CSS developer gets this, their skills are strong in my mind. This is quite possibly the best of all worlds, because at this point, we can do a lot of cool stuff. As an example, this is all in here. Oh, you know what? I actually missed something. This background color, we don't need it anymore. We can just go current color. And current color also inherits from the text color. Okay? So once we have that, now we're controlling from just one place. We could leave this in Sass, but the cool thing is that if we take this button and copy it right here, so now we have two, I can change this just by styling it directly. So I could have any color in here. As an example, hot pink. There it is. And it should just switch for me, and everything just works. Not great contrast, but it does work. We could go further by extracting this color. So instead of using this here, I could take this and put it into a variable of -- button color and make the default Rebecca purple with an E, just like that. And it all still just works. And then if I change this to -- button color, change it just so you can see it, we'll use tomato. I've been hanging out with a lot of British people, so there it is, tomato. Okay, and it all still works. So really cool stuff. A lot of flexibility here. We've gone through just basic styling with the fonts and the padding and the colors. We've used Sass for some stuff. We dried it up a lot, especially with some higher level knowledge about how CSS border colors inherit from the text color, which is really cool. We've made it so that you can pick any color at all, and it will still just work. Any color at all. There is one extra thing I want to point out. The fonts don't match. Okay? If you're looking up here, and in fact, if you're looking right here, the eye is a square and this eye has a circle. So a little bit different. Okay? And that right there is a little bonus gotcha. The font used in a button is not sans serif. Especially in Safari, it's called System UI. I don't really know what the System UI font is, but it is not sans serif. So we can fix that. I left that out on purpose. Go font family. We can go sans serif, But again, and you'll see that it all squares away, so it lines up very nicely. Again, we have some duplicate code here because we've declared sans serif down in our body. Anytime we have duplicate code, that's a place where we could do something better, right? And in this case, we have a very secret, not so secret item called inherit. And inherit will force it to inherit from the cascade. So some questions on cascade as well to finish this whole thing out. So again, styling the button, making the button work, a lot of different ways to dry it up, get rid of repeating code, a lot of opportunities to test skills on Sass and CSS variables and the cascade and a lot of different things. I think it's a really strong way of testing CSS knowledge. Doesn't test layout, but fundamental knowledge, it's just so well-rounded that I like it a lot. And I hope you do too.